The recent Nintendo Direct gave us a surprising amount of information about the Pokemon Sword and Shield expansion pass with new details about Kubfu and Urshifu, the legendary Pokemon we'll be receiving on the Isle of Armor. Now the big question was, how do you get the different forms of Urshifu? Because it was stated early on that your decisions will determine the form that you get. Well, it's actually pretty straightforward. There's a Tower of Darkness and a Tower of Water. Wherever you choose to train Kubfu, that is going to determine the form that you receive. So it takes like a lot of the guesswork and potential arbitrary nature of it, because it could have just been like text dialogues or certain paths you take that, oh, all of a sudden I have the single strike style or something like that. But no, you have full control over what happens to your Kubfu, and because of that, people have a lot of questions. Which form is the best, or which form should I choose? Now, it is too early to know exactly what's going on with this Pokemon, but now that we have this extra information, let's do some analysis. So if you end up enjoying the video, don't forget to leave a like, share with your friends, comment down below, and also I have an announcement, go be streaming on Twitch more, so hit that Twitch link in the description, give me a follow, and then you'll be notified when I go live, which means you'll have a good chance of battling me, since I will be taking viewer battles on Twitch when I'm streaming. But let's get back to Urshifu, since now we can actually determine what's going to happen with the forms. Now the first reason you might pick one form over the other is because of appearance. But there really isn't any difference with Urshifu's appearance. Like, it's got a little spiky crown as opposed to a flappy crown, and then the hairstyle's a little different, and this one just kind of has, yeah, just like long hair that's down instead of hair that's up. Or maybe it's a bandana fur thing. I don't know. It's just not really that much of a difference. So the next thing we have to go off of is typing. We have the single strike style being a fighting dark typing, and then the rapid strike style being a fighting water typing. Okay, let's see what that looks like. And they're both kind of bad. So it's not like this was an easy decision to be like, oh, one's grass psychic and the other one's grass steel. Always go with the grass steel kind of one. There's a lot of weaknesses for the fighting water. We have flying, grass, electric, psychic, and fairy. But we do pick up a lot of resistances. Rock, bug, steel, fire, water, ice, and dark. So there is an interesting trade-off right there, and we end up having more resistances than neutral hits. Now offensively, fighting water is okay. We have 102 not very effective hits, and it's like a lot of fairy, a lot of poison, some psychic in there. Just like weird type matchups or like type combos, but fortunately we don't see them all super that much. Either way, that's kind of the matchup that we're going to be looking at with that. 543 normal effective. Generally, when you like splash fighting into something, you find a good amount of normal effective hits. Like ghost fighting is perfect coverage. So fighting water becomes all right. And then we have 382 super effective hits. So I mean, you're still going to find a lot of things that are going to connect with this Urshifu. And then we can take a look at the fighting dark typing, which shows us that fairy Pokemon are a problem. And that's not good, because fighting dark is also 4 times weak to fairy. Now, I guess if we just splash in steel, we're good to go. There, that's all you needed right there. So if it gets Iron Head, I don't think Bullet Punch is going to be powerful enough. So yeah, it's like, yeah, you can find a way through. It's like, Bulk Up, Drain Punch, Dark move, maybe the signature move, Iron Head, GG, just like that, and then you can coverage out a little bit. But also when it comes to fighting water, there's probably still optimal ways of coveraging out. Psychic works pretty well, but we're still gonna have to worry about Slowbro. That's gonna be coming into the Galar region with the Isle of Armor, Latios, Megas, some stuff we're not gonna see. So even though it's not gonna be as perfect of coverage, it's still gonna be pretty alright. Steel, because like the Slowbro is really what gets in our way. What happens if we ironically put in the dark? We still have some problems. See, it's kind of hard to get that perfect coverage with the water and fighting, but actually the water, fighting, flying is perfect coverage and has a lot of super effective hits. Wait. What was that, like, this going on over here when we threw in the steel? 486 super effective hits compared to the 590 super effective hits. I feel like I know I did a video about this. I feel like this might have actually been one of those things from the video where it's like, oh, a Dragonite with superpower, Aqua Tail, and a flying move or something, or a Pokemon that does that has one of the highest super effective coverages in the game. And now that we have Generation 8, there's even more to talk about. So that's a big huh? So if we just take this idea from that alternative standpoint where it's like, okay, we have acrobatics, like Bulk Up, Citrus Berry, if it gets acrobatics and then fighting water, that might be a thing. So yeah, Drain Punch. Like, I'm just looking at this Pokemon around Drain Punch, because if you have a legendary Pokemon that has ridiculously high offense that gets stabbed Drain Punch, you can't not use it. So we got some shenanigans going on over there, but let's go and look at what the typing does for Fighting Dark. And it's kind of different in its own way, because not nearly as many resistances, just Rock, Ghost, Dark, and then we're weak to Fighting, Flying, but a 4 times weakness to Fairy. Unless you're Ferrothorn tanky, you're not going to be able to survive a 4 times hit, because what we're looking at here is Pangoro. So if we have like legendary Pangoro, the question is that enough to save Pangoro? And the answer is generally no. Like, even with some legendary bulk, you're not going to be like hard investing as a defensive Pokemon, so it's not really going to make too much of a difference. But we do have an immunity to Psychic, so I think it's balanced in its own weird way. That we have more weaknesses, but they're not lethal weaknesses, and then we get a lot of resistances in response to that, like Steel, Fire, Water, Ice. Those are good resistances to have. Like, that means you might be able to switch in an Urshifu and then do some shenanigans back, and especially if he gets Drain Punch or something. So maybe that's what the set is going to be. You're going to have like a legendary stab, bulk up Drain Puncher, and then the other like coverage doesn't really matter too much. You know, it's like, oh, water or dark, we already have our sustain in our main form of one punching, so that'll be a thing. It also comes down to the stats. So, I mean, is it going to be that one is a more defensive style and the other one is going to be overloaded on its offensive power? Well, let's see what we have here. A Merciless Blow. Urshifu in this form favor battling without holding anything back. When enraged, they will mercilessly attack an opponent until it's utterly crushed. So, I mean, are we looking at something that's like not as Glass Cannon as Deoxys attack form? Probably similar in that way, that this thing's gonna have like a 160 attack and then only like 80s on the hit points and defenses, despite being a legendary Pokemon. We also don't know about the speed. Like, if this thing is kind of slow with like a 90, 95, like, that's not super slow, but we're talking about legendary Pokemon format, we're talking about other sweepers and stuff. You know, any fast fairy type move is going to one-shot this thing, and then depending on where the rest of its bulk is, it might also just go down. It also depends how much of a legendary Pokemon Urshifu is. Are we talking box legendary Pokemon? Because even at that point, it's hard to get a frail, big legendary Pokemon when you're dealing with like 600 something base stat total. I mean, it could look like this, but more Groudon-like. So I think pulling up Kyogre was not the play. Pulling up Groudon was the play, because it could just be high offenses, high defense into that legendary bulk. So I mean, 150 attack, 140 defense, maybe not that insane. Maybe like 170 attack, 120 defense, if it's even that defensive. But it says, you know, they put everything out there. So is it randomly just going to have high special attack? I don't know. I don't feel like you can make, like, you look at the design of Urshifu and you're like, that's just, and it has a pre-evolution that's like a little dude. So it's like, I don't see how that's going to pull 600 somethings. It might just be a rounded out 600, and then the stat distribution gets weird from there. But I mean, you knock 70 points off of Groudon. So it's like, yeah, you take 50 off the defense, that puts at 90 defense, keep like 70 special defense or something, special attack, hit points, whatever, and then, yeah, we got like a 600 base stat total Pokemon. Or are we talking like Silvally, legendary Pokemon, or, you know, Trio, legendary Pokemons, where they're still legendaries, they're cool like that, they just have a high base stat total, but it's not legendary base stats. So I mean, like 570, 600, that's base 95. So I mean, we take 40 off this defense, like 40 off this, 40 or 20 off defense, 20 off special defense, put that in attack. I mean, that's only 135 attack, still 95, 75, 75, and then tweak things around from there. So it depends, like, it depends on if it's just going to be like a signature move difference as well as a typing difference, and then the stats are the same, or there could be some major stat adjustments. We still don't really have an idea, and like, again, the best thing we have to go off is just, typings are whatever, but typing makes sense. Like, if you have 4 times weakness to Fairy, but you still die to Fighting and Flying anyways because you're frail and just a Glass Cannon, that could be a thing. So let's see what it has to say about the Rapid Strike style. Urshifu in this form maintain a calm demeanor, observing their opponents and measuring their strength while dodging attacks. A Rapid Strike style Urshifu will use flowing movements in battle to smoothly parry an opponent's moves and then overwhelm them with a flurry of rapid strikes. It looks the same though, so I mean, I guess it could have the same stats. Lycanroc Midnight Lycanroc is supposed to be like the countering Pokemon, but it's not really that much more durable than Midday Lycanroc. So it's like, yeah, Lycanroc has counter and it's meant to take a hit, but it still can't take a hit. So maybe it dodges attacks because it still knows it's frail and glass. So we could just be looking at, you know, like a 150, 160 ridiculous attack Pokemon for both of these, almost no defenses, and then shenanigans are going to come from there. So that's the thing. And then we have the ability Unseen Fist. There's no details on the Unseen Fist ability, so we can only guess. Now, my thought is going to be that Unseen Fist is going to effectively just be Tough Claws. That, you know, whatever contact move we have from Urshifu is going to be boosted by maybe 50% instead of 30%. So whatever tuning they put into its stats probably going to be affected by the ability and whatever, and that makes this trailer weird. Like, did anyone else notice how weird this was? So we have the big strike. You know, we have single strike style using Lariat, which is just like spinning around, flailing about, and tagging the opponent with a low damaging move. And then we have the rapid strike style using Giga Impact. And it's not like they mislabeled it, because if you look at the designs of the Pokemon, like, that's rapid strike style. Using Giga Impact. The one punch finishing blow move. So I'm guessing it's like, yeah, it's going to be very similar movesets, except for maybe a signature move and counter versus something else. But they should have like given Rapid Strike style Bullet Punch. They just want to make it look big and powerful and doing crazy stuff. So I don't know. So I mean, they both get Darkest Lariat. We don't even have like a water stab move to show for the Rapid Strike style, but they give us the Darkest Lariat, which is actually pretty cool. Like, if you bulk up Darkest Lariat, the opponent can't defend against it because it ignores the defense boosting. So that could just be a lot of damage right there. And then stab boosting on Darkest Lariat, that's pretty good as well. And that's why I'm wondering, like, is Unseen Fist Tough Claws? Maybe it does just 30% boost as well, because we've seen that before. We've seen abilities with different names with the exact same effect. So we have Libero. Libero is just Protean. And there's also a lot of other abilities where it's like, oh, and Insomnia and Vital Spirit. So you just kind of have it to fit the Pokemon. You can't, like, you could give Urshifu Tough Claws, but that's not cool. That's not legendary. That's not DLC. We need something completely new with that Unseen Fist. And the reason why I feel like it does more damage, like, it might actually be Tough Claws, but Parental Bond-like. And it could just be straight up Parental Bond, like Unseen Fist, you know, a second hit comes in surprisingly. It's unseen because Urshifu's fighting style is just that perfected, and it's that much of a martial arts master. So, you know, another 25% or 30% damage based on the original hit. That breaks Sash, that counts as multi-hitting, which is just better than one big hit. And the reason why Kangaskhan was good was Power Up Punch on very bulky, effective legendary stats because it was Mega Evolution. You get a Sword Stance while dealing damage, and then you have a Sucker Punch. Like, if Urshifu gets Sucker Punch, that's something to think about, because yeah, that Dark, so it's like bulk up Sucker Punch on a 150 attack Pokemon, could be the hardest hitting Sucker Punch in the game if Game Freak goes about it, and if Unseen Fist boosts any damage or has an extra effect, that's pretty crazy. So we just could see Mega Kangaskhan again, and it's a legendary Pokemon, therefore it's not going to be in every battle because restricted Pokemon aren't allowed, or maybe this is going to be an allowed legendary Pokemon because it only has Silvally stats and Legendary Bird and Tapu stats or something like that. So based on what we know, I'm thinking that the Fighting Dark one has more potential. That if it's just going to be a Glass Cannon anyways, just avoid Fairy type, Flying type, and Fighting type moves, and you're going to be good to go. Hopefully it gets like some kind of signature move. Maybe Unseen Fist is just a busted ability, and then you just kind of like wreck opponents. But at the same time, it is just going to be a better Pangoro. So like, what can it possibly do? Like, will it be slow? If it's slow, then it's going to need a Choice Scarf. And then everything's going to ride on that. Unless it has Sucker Punch, in which case you can do like Choice Bandy things. Or will we learn that Pangoro is only bad because it does not have Sucker Punch? So I mean, boom. Give this guy 100 more base stats somewhere, somehow. Give it Sucker Punch. Rename it Urshifu. Done. And then, hey, it actually might be pretty scary. So, I mean, like the Fighting Water, again, the coverage is kind of weird. It's going to need different stats. It's going to need something else. It needs to be the bulkier one if you want to use those resistances to your advantage. If not, yeah, just this one's going to be the best single strike. You know, One Punch Man wins. Saitama's best. Duh. So then we have this Gigantamax Urshifu. We knew about it. I don't think it changes much. Do you like red? Do you like blue? That's your choice. And then, yeah, just Rage and Anger and the same thing, and still Unseen Fist, and probably some kind of weird Gigantamax move. So maybe if they have different effects, that would be a thing. It's effectively the same effects, then yeah, Gigantamax your Urshifu, one-shot the opponent 3 times, and win. Or do like extra shenanigans, where it's like, okay, Gigantamax your Urshifu, finish off a low opponent with the punch, Max Knuckle, and then get another KO with Max Knuckle, and then come out and Sucker Punch everything with your Choice Band. I don't know. It's gonna be weird. So, unfortunately, we don't have enough details, but I think we can still kind of get a better idea where it's like, oh, if you want to start planning your Isle of Armor adventure now, just go to Tower of Darkness, I guess. That's my thought, but you still might find something inside the Rapid Strike style. Maybe it's moveset. Just does something that Single Strike can't. Again, it depends on how much Game Freak wants to break the game. They were very cautious about Pangoro. Now they might just throw up their hands in the air and say, screw it. So that's kind of my analysis of this one. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.